It's Danny Flexen here for Seconds Out. Delighted to be joined by my good friend and man about boxing these days, Mr. Adam Smith. Adam, how are you?
I'm good, thanks, Danny. Really good. Just finished the press conference here in Sheffield for GBM's big show on Saturday night, the 7th of the year, on the 7th of December. Couple of weeks before all attention is in Riyadh, but important British domestic business. I know there's big other big shows this weekend as well, with Queensbury and a top tier, and there's so much happening domestically as well as abroad. I think we've got a good one on Saturday. Fantastic top of the bill with Danny Quartermain and Jack Bateson. So looking forward to it.
Now, some of these questions I asked Izzy earlier, but I wanted to ask you as well. Signing with a massive platform like the Zone and sharing that platform with the two biggest promoters in the UK, no disrespect to Boxer. Um, what more does an Izzy Azif and GBM Sports need to do to get up there with your Frank Warrens and your Eddie Hearns?
It's a really good question, Danny, and you've seen boxing over the years and who emerges. Yeah, no question. Who's at the top end at the minute with Eddie and Frank Smith and Frank and George and Ben at Sky, Callum and Nisse doing their thing on Channel 5 and with Misfits. And then you've got a whole sort of group of promoters that want to come through. I firmly believe GBM are right there and ready. I think that it's people love GBM. You know, the fans are really enjoying the fight nights. The production looks terrific. We had a great run with TalkSport YouTube. DAZN have come in. Yeah, it's the combat sports platform. Mike Ridout and the guys at DAZN are fabulous people. You know, I miss my old chums at Sky, of course. But you know, they've got Boxer and they've got Top Rank. And I think for DAZN, Matchroom have been and Golden Boy have been their sort of mainstay for a long time. Now the big move to get Queensbury under the umbrella, and you know, with us there, GBM as well, amongst others, it's going to become the hub, and I think that 2025 is the big year for us. I think, look, this has been a fast, accelerated process. It was just 3 years ago that Mitch and Izzy had their first show, and I think you've got to pinch yourselves to see how far they've come. But I think you're right. There is a jump to that next level. I think it's probably getting a fighter or two onto a big Riyadh season card. That's probably a way of doing it, or maybe closer relationships with Matchroom and Queensbury under the DAZN umbrella now. I know Eddie's been to Izzy's shows before, and I see no reason why we can't sort of help each other out a little bit, like what's happening in under the Turkey Saudi sort of system. They've got everyone working together to put the best fights on and produce, probably in your and my eyes and everybody else's eyes, the best card we've seen in modern times on February the 22nd. I mean, I don't know about you, but I'm really scratching my brain trying to think of a better one. Don King, maybe back in the day, had 7-8 world title fights on, but nothing near the sort of competitiveness of what we're seeing on February 22nd. So look, everything's happening. Everyone's working together. And I think GBM they've got Mitch Costello behind the scenes, who is, you know, as good as anyone I've worked with in boxing. You know, he's fantastic, and he's young, he's enthusiastic, reminds me a bit of Frank Smith at Matchroom. And you know, it's great. George Warren's primed and ready under Frank, and you know, he's the smarts behind the whole sort of setup there, and you know, he's done so much work to get everybody together. So yeah, Mitch is doing a really good job at GBM. He's a fantastic front man. Reminds me of a young Eddie. He's different. He's infectious. I was at an event with him earlier. He said to me, "What do I say when I go up there?" I said, "Izzy." And he went up there and he just delivered 15 minutes of absolute magic. And I don't think he knows sometimes what he's saying, but it's absolutely brilliant. He's a really good promoter. He's a good guy to be around. So I think it's just a matter of time. Maybe it's getting a Shaq Thompson, a Danny Quartermain, or a Jack Bateson if Jack wins, or a Kieran Malloy, someone like that, through the door into Riyadh season. Maybe it's that. Maybe it's getting some of the younger talent to appear on maybe a Matchroom or a Queensbury show as well, and sort of becoming a bit of a co-alliance under the DAZN brolly. But I think 2025 is a big year, and yeah, you're right. We have to go to, with my GBM hat on, we have to go to the next level. But you know, they've ticked every box so far. It's a huge difference to when I started with them in February. That's nothing to do with me. That's to do with the team they've got behind them. That's Alex and Em and Mitch and all the guys, James, all the guys and girls behind the scene. There's some fantastic people at GBM, and long may that continue. But I think it's going to be tough. It's a competitive business out there, but I think we're in a good place. And let's get a good show done on Saturday night, and then sit down with DAZN and work out what we're going to do in 2025, because it should be really exciting.
Now, you're typically self-effacing, as you just said there, but Izzy picked you out as someone who signing you for GBM Sports was something of a statement from them because people know your background both in commentary and behind the scenes. Do you kind of see that yourself, that you moving to them has given them some a kind of a boost in some fans' eyes and probably the industry insiders' eyes as well?
Look, I was just privileged and honoured to be asked by Izzy to do a bit of commentary. I mean, I'd come out of a year of a brutal cancer battle. I was not really very well when I saw him at Johnny Nelson's foundation dinner earlier in the year for his MBE, which he was, it's delightful that my best mate in boxing got that. It's terrific. And, I was just lucky enough to be there with Izzy. And he said to me, do you fancy commentating on our next show? And I said, well, it's really nice for you to ask. And I don't think I was physically well enough to do it, but my wife was like, really? And I said, yeah, I'm going to do it. She's like, who's Izzy? And I said, don't worry, it's just boxing. So I went, and I was blown away by what they were doing, what they were trying to do. It was a really cool show. Stevie Levy came in with her boy on a ring walk, and Shaq Thompson topped the show. And I loved it, and just got to, and Mitch was a big reason why I came to GBM, because I knew his dad, Lee, who we sadly lost way too soon. I know you knew him as well. He was a great boxing man and was with Sky for many years. So it was lovely to see, because he left an 8-year-old boy behind when he died. So it was really nice to see Mitch all those years later. So that was a real big influence. And look, I hope I brought something to them in terms of experience, some knowledge, the working how to work in media a little bit. But yeah, it's a team effort. I never like to be singled out, because I love what I do, Danny, and I work in teams. I worked for Sky for many years in teams, and I left a great team behind me with Ed, Andy, John, James, and the guys and girls there. And I think by becoming sort of a freelancer, and I've just been delighted to be asked to do things for Summit Sport, for GBM, for Talk Sport, and for DAZN, and I'm really, it's just nice being part of teams again. So yeah, it's lovely that Izzy says that, but it's a team effort. I hope that I've brought maybe some grey hair or some lack of hair to the
I'll bring the grey hair.
Yeah, to the picture, and just sort of some experience, really. I want to give back to athletes. That's my big goal now. And I've got a different perspective on my life since the cancer. I was talking to Mark Bateson earlier, Jack's dad, who's gone through a similar difficult battle. And, your perspective on life changes, and you're very grateful to wake up in the morning. So I'm really happy to be here. Any help I can give them, great. And, when things go wrong, it's probably my fault. So I'll take the good with the bad. But at the moment, it's very exciting times, and we're really looking forward to Saturday. And then we'll I won't have a Christmas break, because I'm off to Riyadh, and it'll wrapping Christmas presents up when I get back. But it'll be a little break, obviously, into the new year, and then we'll be back with a bang, and hopefully a really exciting year for GBM, for Summit Sports, and everyone that's been kind enough to give me an opportunity.
Now, I don't want to keep you here all day. As you said, you're very busy, but I do want to talk to you briefly, at least, about the February 22nd show. As you said, hard to think of a better show in recent memory. We were on our live show on Monday night, and I was kind of referencing those Don King shows you talked about, with the likes of Julio Cesar Chavez Sr. and Terry Norris, and the lightweights as well, Michael Carbajal and Chiquita Gonzalez and people like that.
Yep.
But nothing really comes quite close to the level of quality and depth on February the 22nd. So let's just go through some of those fights briefly. Daniel Dubois against Joseph Parker. The moment that was mooted, I thought, it's an incredibly risky fight for Daniel Dubois, especially as it's a voluntary defence. I know it's like there's no easy games in international football, similar sort of theory with heavyweight boxing. But stylistically, Parker seems kind of a difficult challenge for Dubois. What do you think of that fight?
I think it's a fabulous fight. I spent time with both of them actually recently, and while it was being mooted, and I was thinking, is one of them not going to want this, or it was almost too good to be true. I had to remind myself it's not actually the first defense of Daniel's IBF title. It's the second defense. We all think of AJ as where he won it, but of course he was crowned before. So he's had one defense already, and he could easily have been allowed a sort of softer, second one. No soft touch here. Joseph Parker's in the form of his life. Andy Lee has been amazing for him. I spoke to Joe on my podcast a couple of days ago, and he is just absolutely bang up for this. He's put a bit of muscle on. He's got George Lockhart with him. He's got Andy Lee. He's got a great team. Obviously, one of the nicest people in boxing. Daniel Dubois has got the momentum and the confidence now. It's fantastic being around him. He came back from a holiday in Brazil, super sharp. I saw him on the pads, maybe in his first or second training session back, and he looked incredible. So I'm really excited about that fight. I think it's a fantastic fight. We could have that just on its own, but being underneath Bivol Beterbiev, the rematch, which we're all delighted to see happen, and so quickly. Wow. The other heavyweight fight is a brilliant one between Zhang and Kabayel. I love Shakur Stevenson, and him with an unbeaten and quite loudmouth American who's young, who's hungry. In Schofield, I love the Buatsi Callum Smith fight. What am I forgetting? One of my favorite fighters in boxing, Virgil Ortiz Jr., Hamza Shiraz fighting for a world title. It's Christmas came early with that. And February 22nd is brilliant. And I can't wait. Every fight on that, I would say is the top of the bill. Every fight on that, I'm looking forward to. Can't pick winners necessarily. Certainly on 3 or 4 of them. Brilliant.
Yeah, Israel Madrimov, of course, who fights Virgil Ortiz, is doing 3 Riyadh season shows in a row. He's going to be on that couple of weeks' time as well. So he might retire. Who knows? 3 big paydays and absolutely knackered, I imagine, after those 3 fights, all against tough opposition. Huge respect for him. But I did want to ask you about Callum Smith and Joshua Buatsi, as you worked alongside or with both for a long time at Sky Sports. Just before we talk about that fight specifically, is there any slight element of disappointment it's not Anthony Yard against Buatsi?
I spent a lot of time with Tundi lately at TalkSport, and
might influence your answer.
Yeah, I was trying to sort of help make the Buatsi Yard fight, but I got told I'm a friend, and I've got no position to speak for Joshua Buatsi. Tundi put me in my place quite rightly on Talk Boxing with TalkSport and Simon Jordan, and I do you know what he's right. Look, I just want the big fights. I just want the best fights, and I know that they both want it. It's a bit like the AJ Fury situation. Both fighters have wanted it for years. It's just the politics occasionally come in the way, as you and I well know. Actually, I think if Fury doesn't beat Usyk, that fight will happen in the new year. But we'll see on that one. As far as Buatsi Yard, I would have loved that fight, but I like Buatsi Callum Smith. It's a great fight. Callum has lost only to the very best in Canelo and Beterbiev. He wants to be a world light heavyweight champion. He still believes he's got some. We saw the other night. He's back. He's winning. It's a great fight. Buatsi comes off a really good victory over Willie Hutchinson. You're right. I know them very well. I'm friendly with both of them. It's going to be a tough fight to get my head around because of that. But impartially and standing back, and if I'm holding the mic, I would love to call it because it's a fabulous dust up. It's a domestic one. And we know both of them, and we can't pick a winner. And the winner goes on to fight for a world title. We know that. So it's a great matchup. And I'll look forward to the build-up. And they're 2 good guys as well, 2 very respectful guys. So a bit like we've got here with Jack Bateson and Danny Quartermain. Don't expect a lot of that. I expect a lot of the fists to do the talking. Going to be a very, very good tactical fight, that, and 2 very intelligent fighters. So one who's been a world champion, one who should be. So can't wait for it.
Great stuff. And just before I let you go, why should people tune in on Saturday night for A Storm Is Coming, the GBM Sports Show on DAZN?
A Storm Is Coming. Great name. Alex Maver of the team got that one. Look, it's GBM shows entertain. They excite. They're full of atmosphere, full of 50-50 fights, full of good prospects, full of the odd upset, surprises, stories. You've either got to be there at the Cannon Medical Arena, or you've got to be watching it live on DAZN. There's no place to watch boxing at the moment other than DAZN every week. My Sky colleagues will be saying, hang on a minute, Adam, come on, you're a Sky Sports. Yeah, look, you cut me in half and I bled Sky Sports. I was there for 30 years, and of course I watch every single show they still do. But I've got my DAZN hat on now. It's the combat sports home. It's PFL. It's bare knuckle. Everything seems to be happening on DAZN, the UFC, and the big fights. Eddie's stable, Frank's stable come the spring, and GBM are well placed for hopefully a big deal next year in 2025. So yeah, watch us on GBM on DAZN this week, December the 7th. Then watch my old friends on Sky next week. Tasha Jonas, wish her the best of luck. Love Tash. That's going to be a fantastic night for Boxer and for Sky. Top Ranker got some big nights coming up on Sky. So come on, I'll give them a little bit of a push as well. Boxing's in a good place. It's terrific. Channel 5, I was at a show with Sophie Alice the other night and Harlem Eubank in Newcastle. We've got Boxer and Sky. You've got DAZN, who are sort of umbrellaing almost everybody else. It's a brilliant time to be involved in boxing. I'm glad I'm healthy today. Who knows tomorrow, but today I'm healthy, Danny, and it's nice to be involved.
Well, I hope you are tomorrow as well, Adam, and for a long time to come as well. Really appreciate you joining us, and I'm sure I'll speak to you again soon.
Cheers, Danny, my friend. Take care.
Take care, mate. Bye bye.